Hey folks, fWhip here, and welcome to the Commodore question of the day for Hardcore episode 54. We got 4 questions today to run through, and I'm super excited about it. I was just over here looking at the mud brick castle. Haven't really stopped by it for a while, but since the entire video is out working there and I still need to remove those beacons, it's kind of cool coming back here and just seeing the whole process for the waterway leading through. Trying to get some build ideas of what else I can add in here, so let me know if you got any down in the comments. I'm especially wanting to change up this. I really hate that. I hate this stone and gravel beach over here, but I don't know what to do with it. I was thinking a village or something, and I was like, no, we have so many of those around here, but maybe we could do like a natural forest? I don't know. First question today coming in from the Bushna. How much would you say your older series influenced your builds on the hardcore world versus you wanting to try out new ideas? Outside of New Papyrus, I don't think I've ever really picked anything out of the old world and brought it here. But that being said, my style of playing Minecraft is still very much the same. I absolutely love just running around and building up a medieval fantasy world. That was the same thing that we did in the Building with fWhip series, and now things are just a little bit more polished and my build style is a lot cleaner and more advanced, I think, than where we're at previously, especially when it comes to texturing and shape and all that stuff. It's just been a lot of years of practice that have got into here. But as far as the old world really influencing things, I really wanted to pay homage back to New Papyrus, or well, Old Papyrus, by building New Papyrus as like a way to work over in the desert, as just something fun and different to do. But outside of that, I haven't really picked out any major builds. I think I've went back and been like, you know what? I'm recreating this today. As I really do enjoy the process of designing new things instead of just reworking old models. Sometimes there'll be a slight element that I can run over there and be like, ooh, I'm gonna grab that and just throw it at the top of this tower and it'll work great. But for the most time, that old style that I used to build in, the old shape and different scale, it just doesn't really work as well in the current scale of things that I do. So a lot of the elements over there don't really work too well, but there's some things in practice that I found when designing that I still probably do use. I'm thinking more things like little super simple bridges, some wagon designs that I came up with way back in the day, chicken coops, maybe this style of house right here. Like this is a very, very basic house. And I think I designed like this shape and frame and on the angle and all that back then, and then I just repurpose it and add new textures and everything else in. So sure, there's some influence because I think that's just any artist or anybody who's building in anything. You kind of build your toolkit. Think of every single build you make as another skill set added into your tool belt, your toolkit of things that you can do, and your brain might occasionally just be like, ooh, remember how we did this thing way back in the day? Let's try that again right here and see if it works. So I'm sure as we move on to future worlds, hopefully not anytime soon, there's going to be a lot of the elements of these things, especially the trees and the way I've kind of practiced terraforming skills, you know, maybe building giant stuff like the tree are going to come back into play. I actually think this wagon right here might be something very similar to one sitting on the path into the mountain range in the Building with fWhip world. Maybe. I think I did a wool covered caravan there at some point. I can't remember if it's the same design or just a similar concept or not. Next one coming in from Bobber Guy. Hey fWhip, in your videos, mostly when you're doing a pretty small project, it looks like you're really building and building without thinking. So could you maybe show how you plan for small builds? For a little behind the scenes footage here, welcome to my creative testing world. And here you can see the house concept that I made for Hardcore episode 54. This was kind of the base shape and design. I didn't even design it all the way around. I just kind of worked on different elements, being like, what rough idea for blocks do I want in here? Maybe what kind of concepts are we going to throw in? And that kind of got me started. From there, I was like, okay, we got this idea of I like the looms up here. I like the mangrove coming in. I like the campfires, the stone base with this little storage area underneath. I really like that. And then I really like the mangrove and the dark oak trim because I'd never done a dark oak trim before. So I want to just give that a shot. And then I also like the idea of the chimney back here. Not really being a chimney, but more just an area for smoke to come out as they might have an open cooking fire inside. And you can see a lot of other concepts or things mishmashed up all over the place previously that I've used, some that I haven't used. So sometimes I'll jump in there and just kind of work out something that I want to do because when I'm recording the video, I want to sound more on the professional side and walk you through my thought process I was going through when I'm actually building in a game. But a lot of that thinking and designing time. So half my video isn't just me going, I don't know. What about this? Not too sure. Let's tear it all down. A lot of that I do previously in a creative world, or maybe I'll build it on cam, or maybe I'll build it in this world and then I'll destroy it and then we'll rebuild it on cam. As I want things to come together more quickly and keep the episode moving forward. And if I'm there humming and hawing over a little detail, sometimes it just kind of feels clunky in a video. So I try and chop a lot of that out to really just make sure the pace of the video is consistently moving forward. So a lot of those smaller builds, or maybe stuff like this, I've just kind of memorized this design. I've used it all over the place. Same with this one right here for a little like cart that you can pull around and maybe bake some things. So this guy's selling potatoes or baked potatoes or something. You can just get as you're walking through the market, you can get a little snack. So a lot of the little tiny builds, I have the general concepts for, like this wagon here. I just keep looking at wagons apparently, but I just have a rough idea of what I think I know what I want and how I want to detail things and make it look like the concept that I'm trying to deliver. And then we'll just kind of do that and place blocks down, and I'll clean it up after if I need to. But as I ramble a ton in these videos here on the second channel, I try to not ramble too much on the main channel videos, as I want them to keep that pacing that I mentioned. So a lot of that like thought process time is more of a recap of me telling what my thought process was when I was actually, designing the build previously. Wow, that is a lot of B's in there. Whoa, wow. Next question today coming in from Scout Austin. Does every YouTuber have an editor? How are you able to send them all of the footage and the vision in mind? Do you ever edit your own videos, or did you when your channel was smaller? First part of that one, no, definitely every YouTuber does not have an editor. It's definitely an added cost on top of everything. And I found for me, it helps me be more efficient and actually have some free time back in my day and my life and be able to do things outside of recording Minecraft videos. For that part alone, it makes the cost of it all worth it for me. And it's also, I think for me personally, enhanced my footage by having another person taking a look at it and challenging some ideas, or just bringing in alternative thoughts compared to what I was thinking about and the vision I had originally. I know the editor that I've been working with, his name's Marcos. We've been working together for almost 2 years now, and he's done an excellent job of bringing up a lot of things and bringing up a lot of things that have helped the channel kind of turn into what it is today. So I've really appreciated having that as somebody on my team instead of somebody who I'm just like, here's the footage, just make the thing happen, I've really wanted to have somebody who is here working with me to make the product better, not somebody who is just putting in the hours to get it done. So that happened about 2 years ago. Before that, pretty much up until about 900,000 subscribers, almost 1 million subscribers, I did everything myself because I wanted to have that control, and I wanted to have my vision of what I was creating really being the forefront of where my channel was. And that vision of what I wanted to be and where I wanted to go was evolving over time. It's still evolving. I'm still changing things up, but after I kind of had a good idea of where I wanted to be with it all, it made more sense to bring somebody on board. So if you remember the Afterlife SMP series, that's actually where I first started handing footage off to Marcos, and he first started taking over. At the end of the Afterlife series, I had him take on Empire Season 2, I believe that came out. And then a few months into there, I had him start taking on the hardcore videos as well. Because the hardcore videos when I started the series, that was kind of like my baby. That was stuff that I cared a lot about. The other ones, I was okay if they weren't quite as polished, but I really want to put the extra effort into the hardcore videos. So I wanted to control that all myself. But then after a while, I was like, okay, I think he's been onboarded for long enough. We've been working together for almost 9-10 months, and I think it's about time that I could trust him to do that. And it was still a growing period. There's still a lot of conversations we had to have along the way to define how things were going to work and how it was all going to come together. And we're still growing. We're still sending notes back and forth, but the basic of how all it runs is we just have a really, really long Google Doc. The one for Hardcore Episode 4 still is pulled up on my side monitor, and it is a 17-page Google Doc with notes and lines and where I want to have cinematic shots and stuff like that thrown in, where the time lapses are coming in, the voice lines that I want to put over the top of the time lapses, and how that's all broken down and everything's working in there together. So I'm still guiding a lot on that because I want to have that vision in mind of mine. But then outside of that, I'm not micromanaging everything that he's doing. So I'm giving him the freedom to kind of make the rest of the video his own, because it's his job as the editor to deliver the best product possible. So I really got to trust him to be able to do that. I would highly recommend, though, for smaller channels, you should probably be editing all of your own content, especially until you can actually afford to pay for an editor on top of it, because the cost of editors, it's not cheap. If you want a really good editor, you're going to be paying a lot of money on top of that. So you really got to take that into account for what you're getting out of it. And I also think really knowing how to work inside of an editing software is very important as a YouTuber, so that you can deliver the product if you need to. If something comes up later, for example, for me, if Marcos ever got sick or needed to take a vacation or something like that, I can still get the job done. I can still put in the hours and get the video edited, which is very good to have that to fall back on. We're going very behind the scenes today, apparently. So there's a little bit of the background info of how everything happens for me. And now to scroll to page 43 for the last question of the day. Gosh, there's so much scrolling in here. This book's almost full. From Sekiru2689. Hey fWhip, so as a question for anybody who wants to get better at building, what do you think is the right balance between too detailed and not enough? Well, the honest answer here is there is no right answer. And it all comes up into the eye of the artist or the eye of the person looking at it. Not everybody is going to love every single piece of art or every single Minecraft build you make. And that's totally okay. There is no perfect Minecraft build out there. There's always going to be somebody who has some critique or something else along those lines. I think a place that we can run into here to take a look at this, though, for concept-wise is inside of the city. I didn't go super heavy detailed on here for the added elements of things popping out, like little fence gates and stuff, or I don't tend to do, like a lot of people tend to like break out some of these and just put in a stair to have that random hole. I personally hate the look of that, but some people love that style, especially if you go back into the ancient Minecraft YouTube days where Madness64, I believe their name was, when they were creating content and being like, here's how to build better in Minecraft. I'm pretty sure like 90% of their build was just stairs and not full blocks. I mean, we all had to grow. We all had to start somewhere. So I used to do stuff like that. But I like the cleaner shapes and more focusing on using blocks for texturing. And then coming in with a little supporting elements of the trapdoors in here. So I would say just add as much as you want on there. Add everything that you want to bring your vision home. And then take a look at it afterwards and be like, is that too much? Does it feel like a lot? Does it feel too much? Or are any of the things being added on there just detail for the sake of detail, but it's not actually helping the build feel like what it is any further? For example, over here, I could have put it buttons all the way up and down this, but would that have helped it feel any more like a door instead of just throwing these levers in here? I was really contemplating throwing buttons, especially in the middle there, so it kind of helped like a dividing thing, but I was like, nah, it's Minecraft. We kind of get like, this looks like a big handle, and that looks like a big handle, so you can kind of infer that it would split in half and open. Or back in here, I wanted to make this look like a very lush garden, something completely different than what we were just looking at over there for more cityscape style. So I pretty much took every single block that's not just the pathway and put something on top of it. And especially overhead to really make you feel like you're closed in the environment, we have all of these flower pots hanging down from this little banister of sorts. And even more detail, we have that growing up on the wall there. I think it really comes in terms of balance, where if this was all completely overgrown there, like it is, and then that wall was all overgrown, and then that wall was all overgrown, and then that over there was overgrown, it would feel so chaotic and like there's just way too much going on here. So that, you have to really practice balance. And I would say a big thing that I think a lot of novice Minecraft builders, beginner Minecraft builders do, is they think of purely noise. If you don't know what noise is, it's when you have texturing. Well, noise in terms of texturing, you know what noise is, like that's just sound and all that. Noise in terms of texturing is just random spitter spatters of color. So you could have, right here we have dirt, coarse, rooted dirt, mud brick, packed mud, jungle, blah, blah, blah. And if you have just a constant noise, this would just be randomized throughout the entire thing. But what you can see I did here instead is that we have patches where we have a patch of the mud brick, we have a little patch of the packed mud, then the dirt is in a patch here. We have 3 of our jungle planks right in there, so they're all together. And then again, that patching continues going all the way up into here. Patches, blobs, however you want to think of it. Even looking at the texturing on here, if we had a traditional noise map, a lot of that granite would be here just scattered in the middle. But I like to bunch it up there to create shape out of it, to create form and just create more stuff happening without it feeling chaotic. So this being smooth really moves the eye to the other sections. And then this being roughened up behind where we have the pipe there kind of shows it's a little bit more aged with the water coming down that pipe. Maybe it's making it a little bit more damp on the stone and causing it to erode a little bit more. Even over here, if we had a traditional noise map on this, again, with our packed mud, mushroom block into our granite, bricks, all the way up into terracotta, if it was a traditional noise map, this would just be jumbled up and down all over the place. But here I put the brown tones at the bottom and slowly moved up into our bricks and topped it off with a little bit of the terracotta as like a highlight of sorts. So the big things I would say, if you're trying to get better at building and you're like, oh my gosh, my build feels so chaotic, try bunching things together and see if it works out a little bit better there. One thing I've been trying recently here is adding in a base constant trim. Like we have the constant deep slate right there as like it's more of a foundation, but then we just have the dripstone line there, and then it goes into the little bit of the noise in there with the brick and our granite, and then we come back in directly with another contrasting block there being the smooth stone, and that transitions us up into the extra layers. And you can see the noisiness of there is contrasted by how smooth all this cyan terracotta is in there. Just a few examples to kind of get your mind moving and all that stuff, and hopefully it does help out. But anyways, long thing on that, just keep practicing, keep messing around with it. There's no right or wrong way to practice. Well, I guess the wrong way to practice is to not practice at all. So just keep working at it and you'll figure it out. You'll figure out a balance that you enjoy and that you like as things are moving forwards. And then that's the right build style for you. You just got to find what you enjoy and what you like the most. But thank you all so very much for watching this episode here. I do hope you did enjoy. That's going to be it for me today. Happy holidays, happy new year, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you all when I'm back from a little bit of a well-needed vacation. Leave a like on this if you do enjoy. Subscribe to fWhiptwo if you haven't already. And I'll catch you all on the flip side.